Hey everybody, this is Dark Guardsman, and we're back in the video. So I'm going to try to do an update video because I haven't done one of these in a while, and keep you guys somewhat up to speed of what we're doing for the most part. So we have a few new mods, we have a few updates for things. I actually have completely already forgotten the 1.14 update list before we even started this video, so I'm not going to go over it. But it includes some of the more basic mods that we have. You can just check the curse page to get those. But as it comes to new mods, we'll go through these as we ignore removing mods from my test workspace causing the world to be funky. So first one we've got, new one which isn't actually released yet, but this one will be released pretty soon, is Collared Furnaces. This was done by Blackscore. He went ahead and did this. Now the cool thing about this mod is that we had him coded in such a way that we can actually add more collars to this without increasing the block ID count. So we can come in here, and we can, right now we have all 16 collars, but say we want to add collared stripes to it, we want to add patterns, we want to do various things. We have that ability with this mod. This mod's going to end up turning into kind of like an expanded furnace type of mod, but we'll go ahead and release it as collared furnace and then just tack everything on as we go. I'll try to see what we can do about making this JSON driven so that you guys as mod pack developers and server owners can kind of just throw some more collars and stuff in there. Now the purpose of this mod, because I know somebody will ask this, is entirely aesthetic. This mod is meant to give you kind of a cool way to go through and do things with your base designs and your factory designs or whatever, and have color-coded things. You could just do it because you want to have a pink house, you want to have a red house, purple house, whatever. There's a variety of reasons for this. Now, one of the other mods that goes with this one, but we decided to make it a separate mod, mainly because it was actually created a long time ago, and we just finally got around to releasing it, was the Durnus one. So I think... yeah, I think this one was released here recently. If not, I'm brain dead and we've kind of forgot about it. But either way, it's literally a dirt furnace that you no different whatsoever from a normal furnace. Even the name still says furnace. Works the same. Really, this is just meant to be an early game survival driven furnace. And we are probably looking at the various things we can do with it to kind of balance it out and give mod pack makers a ability to do cool stuff with it. We'll probably be making a few more furnace mods just like this, just to give a variety of different things. One of the things on the list is a log furnace that will have a durability on it, so you can get a few items cooked through it, and it will have a good efficiency at cooking food, but you cook anything else in it will not work as well. We'll probably end up releasing that for 1.14 and not 1.12. But this is hit or miss depending on who ends up working out. So we may do a 1.12 version, then a 1.14 version, but we'll get around to that when we get around to it. One of the other mods, which I've already showed a video off of, is the item piston mod. Now this one has, if I can find it in the list, I will be impressed if I'm going to talk about this, and I completely forgot to stick this in here whatsoever. Wow, I actually legitimately neglected to stick this in here. So I've already made a video about it. Pretty basic, so that one's already been released, it already works. I have 3 different piston types. It does a very good job at pushing blocks, pulling blocks, pushing yourself around, pushing entities. Just go watch the other video, it'll save a lot of time. So next on the list is the colorblind mod, which I think you activate with Control N. So this mod was implemented as a way to give developers to test different color deficiencies. So that way they can kind of see what their game and mods and everything else looks like, and be able to kind of figure out if the textures they're producing and if the GUIs they're producing are actually relatively good. So if we go into these machines, we can look at this as thermal expansion. This is a particular mod I actually designed this for because thermal expansion actually has some problems. If you have any kind of color deficiency and somebody tells you go look for the red box, because if we go back to normal mode here, you will actually have difficulty using these because these color codes actually correspond to the input and output sides of here. Now, if you were completely colorblind, this UI actually becomes completely useless. So if we go through and start cycling through the different modes here and we start looking at the UIs, it does change the way these things do look. And once you start going to things like colorblind mode, like completely where it looks like the black and white movies, this is when you start to see very big problems with UIs. And some of these UIs can become downright unusable depending on who's actually implementing and using them. So if you're looking for any type of color code driven thing, it doesn't work. Now some of our mods even have this problem as well, which is another reason I built this, is I can now go through and I can figure this out and actually see various different things. So we go through this and it just gets worse and worse depending on which one you get and stuff. Now we're going to probably expand on this mod at some point in the future to give it more possibilities of usage. Maybe even add some more different shader colors so people can play around with it. It also acts as a really cool demo for people to figure out how to do shaders in this game. So say somebody wants to add like a midnight type of thing or something going on for environment, they can go through and have some actual fun with these shaders as well if they want to toy with them. So that's one of the other mods on the list. We also have wool anvils, one of the ones I hopefully remember to stick in here. So wool anvils is really just meant to be kind of a one-off mod. There's nothing special that we already even have in place here. So they're supposed to have different damage textures. These ones obviously don't. The developer we had with it didn't put a lot of effort into it. He basically gave us the same code for extra anvils and just removed everything but the wool anvil code and handed it to us. So, can't really complain. We ended up rewriting it, ended up reworking it. We do have something, a basic functionality for it. So what this is ideally meant to be used for, other than just aesthetics, is this actually has a limited crafting capability. So it works as an early game anvil to do things like work on leather armor. So say you haven't quite got your hands on, say, iron or something, and you want to actually do stuff with this. Like maybe you want to rename this and actually change the name to it to something else. You want to be able to do that early game, but you haven't got enough iron to justify building an iron anvil just to rename something. Or say you're getting damaged armor and you want to repair your leather armor and everything else. This actually works for that. So it works on leather armor. I do plan to actually add some support to this with configs to allow you to customize what it can and cannot craft, customize the enchantment levels, and various other things. We will probably be making a series of anvils like this at some point. I don't really want to compete with extra anvils, but we might, depending on what we actually want to do. So this may be the only one in the series if we do go a different direction. We do, after all, have the armory mod and may want to do some more sophisticated things. Rather than having a wool anvil, we may have like a leather working table. So there may actually be some more going on with that later. And then one of the other things we actually have, if I can get a zombie here, we actually made a mod called Entity Armor Setter that will allow you to set tools, armor, and weapons on entities, which is very useful for map builders, particularly. That's what it's there for. It's also useful for admins who may be working with chat commands and want to do certain things, like he may want to create a zombie here, give it double axes, and then capture that in a spawn egg, and then have that spawn egg where he can then clone the entity's MBT off that, and then use console commands from command blocks to drop that entity over and over and over again to act as various different things. So that's something this mod is very useful for. It gives you a creative mode ability to just toy around with zombies. It works on entity in theory. So as long as the entity properly uses the set item armor and various other methods, this will work on it. So it will work on skeletons, it will work on Endermen in theory. I haven't exactly tested on a lot of things. When it does come to things like skeletons and stuff, I don't know how their AIs behave, so when you are setting equipment on them, just kind of understand that the AIs are not exactly built out to be manipulated and toyed with. Anyways, that's all I've got on my list. Oh, I forgot one thing before I go. Atomic Science also got some performance improvements and that improve how the reactor does threading time. But now I'm going to have to go because somebody just rang my door.